गरज गरज आए मेघा घनन घनन छाए रे.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the new episode of podcast with BL Inside Circle. Myself Dheer, my partner Akshat Bansal from BL Inside Circle, and this episode is super special because we have two guests. One guest is alum, BL1's Students Committee's alum by the name of Prashasti. So welcome Prashasti, and the main guest or the second guest is goes by the name of Shatadeep Som. He is working. He has a career background of almost 17 years. Almost of in the 17 years, 10 years with SAP. He had a stint with Accenture, and we are more curious to know about his corporate plus the artistic journey because he's a singer, he's a filmmaker, he dons many hats. So welcome both of you. Prashasti, thank you for doing this. Shatadeep sir, thank you for doing this. And Prashasti, I would request you to please take over and just introduce sir in a bit, and then we can go on with the conversation.
Thank you, Deep. Thank you, Akshat, for inviting me and Shatadeep for this podcast. So I have worked with Shatadeep as a part of diversity and inclusion team at SAP. That's how I know him. Shatadeep carries delivery and consulting leadership experience for over 17 plus years, which includes his stint at SAP, Accenture, and previously at Infosys and Wipro. He has experience in SAP ERP customer experience areas, and he's delivered a lot of projects around in the regions of Australia, Japan, North America, South America, Europe, and has managed large teams of 80 plus consultants. This is just about the professional area of Shatadeep. He's also been the head of the diversity and inclusion initiative under the pillar of people with disabilities, and he's also actively involved in filmmaking, storytelling, singing, and whatnot. We'll discover as a part of this podcast. So, welcome Shatadeep. Welcome to the podcast organized by BL Inside Circle.
Yes. So, sir, talk a little about the corporate journey you have after your engineering days, which ended in 2003. So after that, you have had a 17-year, close to 17-year corporate journey, many companies, many roles. Give us a tidbit about that because there are many students like me, like many MBA grads at IIM Kozhikode who would want to be at your position in the next 10 years from now. So, yes.
So first of all, Prashasti, Dheer and Akshat, thank you very much for the kind introduction. I'm truly honored you have invited me. I'm sure you would reach such positions much earlier than me. But talking about my journey, just like any other engineering grad, I came down to Bangalore and joined Infosys initially as a product developer. So overall, my entire experience has been with products. Initially as a product developer, then as a techno-functional consultant in customer-facing roles, delivering as a CRM architect. But eventually, I realized that delivery is where my real strength lies. It's not just with projects. So these things, our life is interlinked, right? You talked of theater, we talked of music. So I find a lot of passion and a lot of enlightenment when a group of people come together and deliver something nice. It can be a film, it can be a music concert, it can be a theater performance, it can be a DNA initiative, anything like that. So delivery is my area of work now, and fortunate to work with a company like SAP for the last 5 or 6 years, having managed projects and programs, delivering them across the world.
Sir, take us a little bit through your artistic journey. Our senior had mentioned us that in SAP you had pushed her to join the acting program or the acting workshop, and she actually had a great time doing that. So, did you teach in this workshop? What is your personal journey? Because I know your short film called Lockdown has won so many awards in the last in this current year, which was released in February 2021. So just take us through that journey as well.
Yeah, actually, I come from a Bengali family. So somebody asked me just as a tidbit that how come all the Bengalis are good singers? I said that it's not that all the Bengalis are good singers. It's just that every Bengali is pushed to singing and the good singers eventually come out. So that's the fact of it. So thanks to my Bengali background and the defense estate that we were born and brought up, a lot of cultural activities used to happen. So music, writing, theater, these interested me since my school and college days. So school and college days, I used to form small bands. I am a big movie buff. I'm talking of mid 80s and 90s. Doordarshan films and sometimes bunking classes and watching movies. So all those things, amalgamated together. The music part of it, theater, films, and storytelling, music kind of became a part of my genome. Apart from, of course, studies, which all of us from the kind of families we hail from, we are all expected to study, do engineering, which I have also done. In office also, I try to dabble in music, try to form bands, because these are certain inseparable parts. I don't feel complete if I don't do few things like this. The other thing is also that all of us are in a way privileged, right? I mean, we may dream ahead, we may want other things and bigger things in life, but we also have to understand that if we consider the entire population of India, we would be around the 1% of the privileged ones. So there is also a strong urge that all of us have, and Prashasti definitely has it, I know, is to give back something from our positions. So that is where the diversity initiatives and the small things I do in personal life away from office, it also comes from that. We take a lot, right? We took education, people taught us, you guys have a great future out of IIMs, but there has to be something to be given back also, setting something right, few things that are not correct or perfect in the society. So that's where the diversity angle comes in. My nephew is autistic, so I have a soft corner for the persons with disability and autism. So talking of the theater initiative that we did in 2019, I realized that, look, folks go to office to work, right? That is their main job. And we can't expect everybody to understand or be involved in, corporate social responsibility, in diversity initiatives. So that interest has to be created. That sensitization needs to happen. Now, what we saw is that, and we know this very well, it's very difficult to get people to attend diversity initiatives, understand them, and the mailers that we send go to the trash bin. So, what could be an option? So, we thought that theater and filmmaking documentaries could be, one of the ways to catch the eyeballs of people, make them understand that, hey, this is also an important organization initiative going on, and you could be part of it, or at least understand that this is happening. People with disabilities, people in the autism spectrum would also be joining the workforce soon. So be sensitized about it, understand how to deal with such situations. So we formed this theater group. So I although I have dabbled in acting, I'm not a professionally trained actor. So we got trainers from outside, and our leadership was extremely helpful in supporting all that and funding all that activity. And then we got a training for about 15 days on theater, right? And then a part of the diversity and inclusion team got trained, and then we formed our own plays. We practiced, and we, during the lunch time and during normal working hours, where the business hours are little lower, when people are planning to leave, say 3 to 4 p.m. or 4 to 5 p.m., we used to go to the floors and we used to do these acts on autism, on persons with disability. That created a bit of a buzz. Then people started asking me. They asked other DNI folks that, what is this about? Oh, we understood. And there was a very good feedback for that initiative.
Yeah, and I also do agree with the fact like there were few things that were taught as a part of that acting workshop, which I could personally take back, like speaking from the core, how to speak in front of public, and how to create an impact while speaking, so that the audience
Absolutely.
is captivated by like your whatever you're speaking. So those were few of the things I took back in my professional life as well. So that workshop really helped me, and thanks Chatterdev for pushing me to be a part of that workshop. So it did help me a lot.
Yeah, and we all managed to act well.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I would like to add for all of us, which I realized within the course of my career is, see, we will get titles, right? Today program manager, tomorrow director, VP, all of you would get into those levels. So the title brings in some power and, some wherewithal to do stuff, which is also important. But imagine if the title is not there. Suppose you guys join as, senior product manager, VP, or whatever we become in our eventual careers, and suppose that title is taken away from us, then what are we? So would a Prashasti or would somebody who worked with me in my project still gladly follow me in an initiative? That is a very important personal leadership point that we should consider. So we have a title. My current project at Peak has say 80 people. So all of them would follow what I say because I am spearheading the project, right? They know I am the program manager, so they would follow it. But what if this title is taken away? And tomorrow, will at least 5 of them come to with me if I go in for a startup? An initiative which is not a part of my KRA, diversity initiative, a music band, and getting people to understand that, guys, this is important without the title that I have, just as an individual, is also a very important trait for personal leadership. And if you are not in office, if you are doing the same thing in your community, in your friend circle, I think that is a very good, important indicator for your personal leadership. Can we lead without a title, even if nothing is with us? Can, just by the sheer power of our experience, the power of our will, can we get like-minded people to get together and deliver something beautiful or something important for the society? So this is also one of the biggest motivation that I have.
Sharadev, I really relate to the point where you mentioned title-less leadership. So that is something that is resonating with me very, very strongly. Having worked in TCS for like last 5.5 years, what I've noticed in the senior staff that I used to work with was they were burdened with so many tasks, and never saw them leave before 11. And they used to come like in the morning at 10 or 11 p.m. So they had roughly around 12 to 13 hour work days. So how do you, being in such a role, manage or strike off a balance between the two? Being able to focus on extra activities which are not part of your KRAs and keeping sure even the team KPIs are on the same track.
A very good question, Akshat. Actually, many people ask me this question. So my good friends say, this guy doesn't work. I don't think this guy works. How can he do the other things? But I think this has also come with practice, Akshat. When we grow in our roles, there is sometimes a tendency, and if you are good in your job, you want your delivery to be close to perfect, right? Nothing is perfect, but at least reach excellence levels. So there is also a tendency which I have seen in some of my colleagues. Of course, work styles are different. I'm not criticizing anyone here, but they fail to empower people. I need not be in every meeting. When I start a project, my first, some of the tasks that I do is, which are the calls that I must be there and which are the calls that the leads must set up with their counterparts, wherein they have to. I may not be required in every design discussion, right? I may be interested in a few because that's where the customer is stuck, but not every design discussion needs my inputs. I need to give that freedom to my technical leads, but I need to be involved in every resource discussion because that is budget, that is planning, right? So the answer to your question, Akshat, is that I empower people. I try to uh, delegate, and I know what can be delegated and what cannot be delegated, and I trust people a lot. So whoever works in my project, I completely trust that they are here to do a good job, and that flows down the team. People also believe that this guy trusts us. That flows down the team, and if the people will make mistakes, I'm not very hard on people making mistakes. If a mistake happens, I immediately go and try to help correct it. But mostly I save a lot of time by not micromanaging. I save a lot of time by empowering people and letting people do what they are best at and focusing on what I am good at. And that saves me a lot of time. Plus, I also follow that 1 hour of writing, 1 hour of riyaz, musical riyaz, classical music, you need to do a bit of riyaz every day. So I put everything in my calendar. So there is a fixed time for riyaz. There is a time where my son has his online classes. It's a bit of a menace these days. Kids are not going to school. So especially in these COVID times, to manage time, I would suggest put everything in your calendar. The entire day should be on your calendar, including playing with my son. Otherwise, see, it might look little insensitive that even that part you are putting on the calendar, but otherwise you will miss it. You might be doing a work when that pop-up comes that this is the time for my son, uh, and spend time with him because he deserves it. It will help. It will help plan out the things. So first thing is I empower. I don't micromanage. I attend meetings and I take 5 decisions a day which are important for the project. I don't meddle my nose into every decision that others can take, right? And I have bracketed times for everything. So that is how it works. It's not been perfect. I have not been able to do a lot of things that I want to do, but it works to an extent.
Sir, my next question would be, you are like we said in the introduction, and like you're saying, you have been concurred with so many roles, corporate also, non-corporate, because the artistic, the singing part, the filmmaking part. So I personally know many of my friends since the school days. They had some kind of passion, which they did not pursue as a career, but they're still good at it. Maybe singing, maybe writing, maybe acting, maybe so many other things, and they may want to not continue that as a career, but just keep that as a hobby. But since the school days, they tell us that they don't have time to do this, to pursue this. So I've read and I know for a fact that if you do what you love uh, as a hobby or as a career, you enjoy it. So how does one manage, not in terms of time, but how does one manage both the things because you need to be good at both the things. You cannot just ignore your corporate life just because you're good at a hobby, which could be writing. And what has been your motivation to drive both the things? Because you are active in both the things equally. It's not that you're giving one thing more priority than the other.
Yeah, that's again a very good question. And to be very honest, I have struggled with this. Now I have reached a space where I can say that, and of course, a lot more. I want to be a lot more balanced and optimum in doing all the things I love to do. But there was a time, Dheer, where I really struggled, like some of your friends are doing. Because, look, we come from a middle class background. Let's face it. There are people, unfortunately, Sushant Singh Rajput passed away. But if you look at his career before it, he dropped out from engineering and he had a pretty fair, good career in Bollywood. There are other people who dropped out and became singers and writers. Around 2006 and 2007, I used to attend all Indian Idol and Saregama auditions because music was my first passion. Filmmaking and writing came in later. So I attended all the auditions, and I mean, it's amazing. Like 5 o'clock, people used to flock 7,000 guys and girls. They used to stand in line and for the auditions. And I made friends with a lot of them. So, and the kind of talent in India is amazing. But many of them left their homes and they came to Bombay. They lived in 1 BHK, 8 or 9 people in 1 BHK. They were struggling. And unfortunately, maybe I am not in touch with them anymore, but I didn't hear any of them making it big. I'm not discouraging people here, but what I am saying is we look at the success stories. Before his suicide, if you look at Sushant Singh, he is a success story. There are people, Palash Sen is there, who is the lead singer of Euphoria, also a qualified doctor. There are a few examples, but for every example like that, there are thousands of other examples who do not make it. This is just a statistic. People who want to take that risk do not believe in statistics. They can believe that I will be the one who can leave it. I was not such a big risk taker. Okay. So for me, this statistic mattered and I had a career in front of me. So I had to somehow keep both things alive. I had family responsibilities. I had an intercaste marriage, so if I didn't have a job, I wouldn't be married. So those challenges are there. So I had to balance it. So first, I have to be good at the thing that I'm getting paid for. And that ties up to Akshat's question also, how to do that job good first by putting 60-70% of the efforts that others put. Look, let's be straight here. A person who has only the job to do spends a lot of time in unproductive meetings and things that he need not do. That's what I have seen. And I'm not again criticizing, but I personally feel so. So that 30% of time, you spend 8 to 10 hours at work, then there is family, then you have to sleep for 7 hours, right? At least. So remaining 3-4 hours, what you do for people who have skills in other areas, that time has to be time blocked. For me, I don't pick any calls during my riyas, or I just forget that I am also a project program manager at SAP, and I only focus on that stuff. So that's number one. Two is that switching on and switching off. This is a skill. I learned it in the last 5-6 years, because what I saw is my parents have not been keeping well for almost the last 10 years. Yeah. Personal issues keep coming up. Office would be stressful. Once you are married, there will be responsibilities. If you have kids, there will be more responsibilities. So I realized that if you wait for all the signals to turn green, you will never do what you want to do. So switching on and switching off. So what I'm saying is, I am in this meeting or I'm in a office meeting, complete focus on that meeting. As soon as you go out of that meeting, there might be 2-3 very concerning points, but the next 1 hour you have planned for your music. So when you get out of that office room, you should be completely able to switch off and just focus on the Riyaz bit that you have planned for that day, right? You want to write a film script, a short film script, and you just came out of a very abusive meeting. That should not be playing on your mind. You just come out, say, okay, that I will take up after 1 hour, but this hour is for me to complete my film script. It doesn't work always. I'm not saying I'm an expert in this, but unless we develop that switching technique, I have to play with my son, so he will ask all silly questions. I cannot be angry and stressed out while dealing with him because I have a lot of pressures at work. I'm not successful always, but I constantly try to do this switching off and time boxing. So that's the only way, guys. Everyone has 24 hours.
I would like to jump in here. I have been struggling personally with this switching on, switching off thing, because this is the thing which I remember my father used to tell me since my school days. So I think my Wi-Fi password at home has been timetable 2011 since many years, so 2011. So he always used to tell me the same thing which you mentioned, that always have a timetable in your day, even if it is a vacation, summer vacation. You always need to, even if you're struggling with the task which you planned for 2 hours back, what you have planned right now, you should start doing that. But maybe I'm an overthinker. Maybe I want to just finish off the pending task and then go about with the new task. So how to get better at this? Is it only practice, or is it only trying to make your mind more and more rehearsing your mind to make your mind more and more strong to just let go of the past and be focused at the present task?
It's all in the mind, right, Dheer? It's all in the mind. So with more experience, you slowly realize. So when you start your first job, you feel that you run the company, right? Nothing will get done if you are not around. But eventually you realize that everything goes on. I mean, our existence in the earth itself is so temporary. How can we think that we are absolutely critical for the company or the project or the role? So uh, once you get into that zone and you realize that you are an individual, you need not, Akshat need not be like Dheer, Dheer did not be like Prashasti. What you stand for and what you want to do, uh, then things automatically start working out. So can I leave my job now? No. Do I hate my job? No. I enjoy quite a few parts of it. But can I live without music, films, and writing? No. So and my family? No. So what option do I have? Somehow I have to, train my mind to time box my day in a way where I can do reasonable justice to all these parts. Look, one way to look at it is, many people would say focus on one thing. there are friends who have very kind views on me. They say you could have been a senior director or VP somewhere, which may or may not be true, right? But I would kill half of me if I put everything in one thing. I don't want to live a life like that, right? Just working, or there are people for whom it works, and all, to be fair to them, if it works, if they are happy, it's fine. I won't be happy if there is no music or theater or films in my life. So I have to build my life around a discipline or a paradigm where all these things are taken care of. So it depends on how badly you want it, right? So I had a friend who played the guitar, and I met him after many years. So whenever I see a old musical friend, my first question is on music. ये तेरा गिटार कैसे चल रहा है? I don't get time these days. Time is less. I said, no, I think passion is less. Time is never less. The more badly you want it, probably I just wanted it as something to soothe me. So as of now, I have not made it big in music or filmmaking or anything. If I really want it that badly, like an Amish Devgan wanted or a Chetan Bhagat wanted, so maybe I would have reached there as well. Who knows? But I
think
definitely want these things to be part of my life.
definitely all your qualities, all your extra hobbies, all your passion, things about you're passionate about, that's what makes your personality, I think, and that's what add richness to your life, the happiness that you're seeking for, and the satisfaction of, yeah, I'm doing something what I like, where I'm creating an impact, where I enjoy the most. That is, at the end of the day, I think that matters the most, and we should not be hesitant to chase what we like. And if you want something very sincerely, or very like, if we are very passionate about it, we'll definitely take out time. As we can see that Shatadeep has been, we have a successful example sitting in front of us. So yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that I would like to add helps is, look, if you have only your job, again, I am not saying I'm not, people can have that only single minded focus. But sometimes, to Dheer's previous point, suppose somebody is playing politics behind your back. Most of the time, if somebody says something, hey, Shatadeep is not good enough, or Dheer is not good enough in sales, right? Most of, if it is not true, and if you don't care, it doesn't impact you, right? There are some politics where you have to respond because it may impact you directly. Most of the other criticisms are harmless. If people speak about you and if you are doing your job well, nobody can do anything about it. They will just speak. Now, if you have other things to do, so 8 hours is blocked for work and the remaining 3 or 4 hours you have other things to do, you won't find time to respond to that. That saves a lot of stress. I don't know whether I'm able to express this properly, but during pre-COVID days, I have heard certain, things being said about me behind my back. I gave it a thought. Is this that important? Okay, it's not true. Is it true? No, it's not true. Does it deserve my time and energy? No, because I have a script to write, and weekend I have a shooting. I have folks who are ready to come, and if I don't have the script ready, I will get brickbats. So I should head home and don't think much about it and focus on the other thing. So if you have 2 or 3 constructive things in life, it also keeps you away from a lot of negatives going on in office and personal life.
Before we conclude, I have one final, I don't know, itch for a question. I think you have answered it in your own way, but Prashasti still remembers you from her SAP days. And you have said that you like to empower people, empower teams. And the way you try to implement that is something, is itching me. How do you, find someone to, who has a knack for more and looking for, something more than what the work is offering? Because not every employee will be that outward or that outgoing who will just say outwardly others that I'm looking for something more from my job. So how do you, identify such talent?
So, Akshat, you are absolutely right. The 80-20 rule follows here also, right? So, in a team of 10 people, only 2 people would be on an average willing to go that extra mile. If you push the other 8, nothing against them, work won't get done. right? So identifying those two people is a managerial and leadership skill, I believe. So I don't know, but as of now, I have been able to do that successfully. I don't know, because I think it comes from personal relationships. I have often got a feedback that even if it is a 50-member team, I have a personal relationship with almost everybody, even in COVID times. So that is one thing I try to follow. Sometimes small talk people think is a waste of time, and I'm telling you that time boxing is very important. But small talk with your team members is not a waste of time. I believe that. What happens is you ping somebody about an issue. So the issue is important, but before that, just talk about it. Where do you stay? What do you do? And hey, you didn't like that song I sent you. Don't you listen to music? So he will say, yes, I used to learn classical music when I was in school. Hey, then why don't you? So next time and I remember those things very well. So next time when I am doing a musical thing in office or otherwise, I remember that person and I collaborate. In the work front, Akshat, you have to identify a few things. If you suppose you are in a meeting and a managerial discussion is going on, and suddenly one of the leads starts giving a lot of advice, right or wrong. Often we take it on our ego. Hey, I am the manager. How is he saying and challenging my stuff? That should be an indication that this guy wants to get into that position. Okay. So a lot of work can be delegated to that person because he is showing that itch to contribute in those areas. So if somebody challenges me on my managerial decisions, I take it as a in fact, I love when people smarter than me are in my team. That saves a lot of time. There is a guy who uh, can take, if I go on a leave, if suddenly the artist in me says, hey, go on a 1 month leave, there is a guy who can support me during that 1 month. It's a boon. It's not an intimidation. It's not a negative thing. So we should take care of those cues. Most of the time, because of the weight of our position or the perceived insult of being challenged, we miss out those points and we challenge the person back. I normally take those discussion. Okay, that's a good point. I'll discuss with you after the meeting. And then I say, okay, what was your point? Okay. Then I realize, what are your aspirations like? No, I also want to move into program management. Oh, okay. So fine. There could be certain tasks that can be delegated, right? Don't take this in another sense. This is how we groom. We have to add our own value, but we also have to be redundant when required. We have to be visible when required, and we also have to be redundant when required. Because unless we build other people, we cannot move into bigger things. There has to be a person behind me who can take my role so that I can move into the next role. That will only happen if we can identify those potentials. But it's always 80-20, Akshat. Everyone cannot be pushed to do a diversity initiative, to do and it's futile. So I still miss Prashasti. In fact, there are others who are also doing a great job, but her passion for doing these kind of things was incredible. So it won't happen always. Sometimes you have to do it all by yourself. You won't find anybody. But I believe at least in these areas, you need to have it you have to have it in your heart. Otherwise, people will just sign off and not do anything. If it is music, if it is theater, if it is films, if it is corporate social responsibility, if it is diversity, the person needs to have it somewhere in his heart. A chunk of the heart has to feel for it. Otherwise, it won't happen.
I start with the vote of thanks, Prashasti. Any last comments?
No, I was just thinking if we can hear one line from Shatadeep from his singing, so that would be great.
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. So
It's
this
been
is,
long.
we are at 10:18 p.m. So 10:18 is, I don't know which prayer, my Guruji will kill me. But night time is the time of Miyaka Malhar. This is a raga. All the rain songs are based on the Malhar rag. So normally in classical music, it is said that you should sing a raga in its specific time. We can't always follow during riyas. So recently, do you guys get time to watch Netflix or any of the series? I don't think in the last 1 year, but there's a very good series called Bandish Bandits. Have you seen that? It's on Indian classical music gharana, and I really loved it because of my inclination towards this. So there is a very nice song in the climax on the Malhar. So just trying four lines from there. So this is based on the Malhar Raga. It goes like this. गरज गरज आए मेघा घनन घनन छाए रे दमक दमक चमके बिजुरी कहते हैं ऋतुराज आयो रे.
So that was really impeccable. So I'll formally present the vote of thanks. On behalf of the PGPBL cohort and I am Kodikode, we would like to thank Mr. Shatadeep Som for bringing his insights on what drives him towards singing, acting, and storytelling. There were so many takeaways I forgot to even type at this point. Some of the takeaways that I had was the main one was the question of what we are besides the title. Apart from them, some other takeaways were empowering people through delegation, importance of habits, and charting your entire day on the calendar. Hope our viewers had similar takeaways as well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all.